I'm going to take control. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tim, and I work for Systemware, and I'm going to give you just a brief guide of the basics of Content Navigator. This is going to be what you're going to be using going forward. It's kind of taking the place of XNet and Extend. We're going to go over the basics, which is really more on the XNet side. Things that deal with Extend, we're going to save for a later class, I think in early December. But for now, we just wanted you guys to get familiar with how this is going to look, the look and feel of this, to be able to browse reports going forward. This is your test system, so I'm not sure exactly how much is out there, but it's probably a subset of content that you'll see in your production system. And I'm sure you've been given the URL to get to this, so you'll just log in as you normally would. What you'll see first is this home page or first page, if you want to call it. And what you'll notice at first, there's a section in the middle that's called My Pages. You can kind of view this as kind of a favorites list. It's not your actual favorites list that you're used to. It's stuff that you can build. Basically, it's kind of quick links to get to something within the application itself. So we'll show you how to add to that later. But you can have different groupings. So you might have a general grouping, which is this default section, this header here. But you could create your own names for the groups for your My Pages. And then also you can, if you've got multiple and you don't want to see them all, you can toggle over or click on this toggle button to the far right, and it'll basically hide it. So it'll save some space for you. Now to the actual navigation within this user interface, this left frame here with the blue and the gray. As you'll notice, there's a lot of information here. This is due to the fact that John, who's logged in as an administrator, he has a lot more options. Most of you will probably only see some information in the Find category and a few things under the tool, so it won't be as busy as this. But what I wanted to show this because anything that you see here in this column, you're going to also be able to access it via this toolbar. Okay, and the reason that is important is because if you want to save this space to give you more space in the middle here to view your content, you can click this toggle left panel button on the far left of the toolbar, and that will open up space for you. So, and then everything is available within the toolbar itself. So if you like seeing it, you can click on it again, and there it is. One thing to notice when you are actually, you're clicking something, maybe you're bringing back a report, maybe you're doing something that might take, a little bit, 1 second more than normal submissions. This very thin blue bar right here that separates the white space with this gray toolbar, it's basically your process notification bar, similar to IE or Chrome. If you click something, you might see something light up at the top, basically, so something's happening in the background. That might light up, and the bar will turn green and start moving from left to right. So just so you know that that's there. Other information on this page, or other things to be aware of as far as tooltips, settings, things like that. If we go over to our far right on that toolbar, we're going to skip these first couple, and just past the logout, there's settings. Uh-oh. Can I close this, John?
Yes.
Or maybe move it. I'm not sure how to do that. Okay. Under, you can click Settings, and this will give you your user settings. One thing to be made aware of, because I believe it's a default setting, this last checkbox here under User Settings entitled Display Entry Reports and Content Navigator. This is important if you want to actually see documents, the actual document name of any documents you have access to that may not have versions tied to it. So let's say there's a, the ABC report is out there, but there's no versions underneath it. Well, if you have this box checked, you will still see that document definition, a line, an entry line, if you're doing search results, or if you're looking it up through the navigation tree, which I'll show you in just a minute. So if everybody can just please make a mental note or a written note, and remember that if you want to display any reports out there that may not have versions, go to your user settings and click this box and click Save. Also, just to the right of the settings is Help. Uh-oh.
I'd have to shrink the browser to get past that.
Well, I'm not sure how I do that from here. You mean from here, John?
Yeah, and just scroll it down a little bit. Drag it down some. There you go.
Okay, hopefully that'll work. I'll move it in a minute. But under Help, guys, there's information on the, you can go straight to information on the page that you're on. You can go to General Help. You can go to information about Systemware and the application you're in. And you can also click on this Show Tips and Hints, which I'll click on. And hopefully, let's see. For some reason it says it's passing control of the presenter.
There's a box in the way. Let me try to move that out of the way for you.
Okay. Hang tight 1 second, everyone.
Okay, try it now.
Okay. So this Show Tips and Hints, this is just something if you want to keep on. It will give you what it says, helps and tips about the user interface, just random information that might help you or assist you, especially if you're new to the application. And you can click to get more of them, and it'll just pop around and talk about information on that screen. Or you can go back if you wanted to read it again, or if you want to turn it off, you just click the X. So you can either get your help by just doing search within the help itself, and this will open up another page and take you to all kinds of help within the Systemware suite. Or you could turn on the hints. So a couple of ways to get some information on your own if you're just doing your own research or you're curious. John, I'm going to try to maximize this now. Okay. Okay. So back to why are we here? What's the main purpose of this? I would say, if you wanted to look at your documents, there are a couple of ways to do that. Remember I said that there's everything on the toolbar is going to be found here and vice versa. If you wanted to click on Content Navigator, or conversely, under the magnifying glass, that's where all the find options are found. So you can see that those match what's under the find column. So clicking on Content Navigator will open up a window with a another column, another frame, and listed there is information about content, whether it be your favorites list, script results if you've run a script, down to navigation. This is where you could actually see the tree of where content resides. And John, help me out. What would be a good one to open up? DOT?
SCC.
FCC?
Yeah, just scroll down a little bit.
SCC?
Yes, there it is. And then DPA.
Okay. So this is just follows, this is the directory structure that was been set up in Exporter, and the last being the actual document itself. And what are listed here are the document names that hopefully you guys are more familiar with. So you can get to it that way. If I clicked on one, you notice that that name is displayed in this top text column here. So you could actually, if you knew where you were going, you could delete part of this and enter it, and it would take you there. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. You can also, I'll leave this there. You also click on this action menu on the Content Navigator header, and it'll give you some options. And I'm going to click the first option, which is Find All Content by Report. So this is going to give you basically some search criteria options to search content by. You could just click just a generic search for anything you have access to, and it'll bring back the full result set. You could search by, let's say, title. You want to do a title search. You don't have to know the whole title. You could just type in a partial search, a partial title search, and your result comes back. One way to filter down your search is if you know that you only want to search based on your favorites list, you could click Search Show Only Favorites and click Search. And of course, none of those are in there, so it's going to come back as an empty result set. One thing to remember, if your normal search results, as you see here, it's just going to list the reports. It's not going to list every version of the report. If you want to see in your result set every single version at this level, you click Show All Versions, and you'll notice this is going to change from 3 in your results to 212. So that's an option for you if you want to see them all here, or you want to wait till actually click on the one report and show the versions at that point. I'm going to take that off, click Search again. We'll go back to our 3. So if it's only showing a report here as opposed to Show All Versions shows every single version of those 3 reports, what is this? This is the most recent version of these 3 reports. So clicking on one of these, I'll go to Export or Newsletter, it's going to open the most recent version. And you can click anywhere on here. Up top to your report. Now, within a report itself, you have some options while you're viewing it. We'll go through a few of those. Those are going to be found here on the toolbar. And first, we'll just look at the zoom, so you can zoom in and out the data to make it either fit your screen or help you your vision. This green bar look that he has, that's because of this button here. So you can toggle that and just turn it off and make it all white if you want. You've got this print current page function. Got a ruler function. So turned on, once you start moving it, you'll see the rows and columns move. So that might be helpful if you're looking for something in a particular spot on the report. This definitely comes in handy when you're setting up content views, which we'll talk about in the upcoming weeks, the kind of the extend transition application. There's a find text, so just a simple find text. If you're looking for something, I know this is only one page, but if I'm looking for the word broadcast, click enter, it's going to list, highlight every hit, including the first one in a different color. So a lot of different things here to play with. These 4 buttons here, they are associated with annotations or notes. So you can actually set notes here that are attached to the report, whether you want to set a note for yourself or set a note for others to see. So you can make it private or public. I don't know if there are any notes on this one. I don't think there are. But if you wanted to add one, you could just click on this notes button with the green plus sign. I'll just add test for Tim, leave it as public so anyone can see it. And now it's available here, and if you want to hide it, you can either minimize it or you can delete it. If you decide you want to get rid of it, let's minimize it and I'll show you the difference. So now only just a small icon shows up. Again, it's hiding some data. So if you want to hide that note completely, you can click this button and it'll hide all the notes there so you can get a clean view of the report. And then just clicking on the show hide all notes again will bring back that note or any other note. And then you have the full range of the options to add notes at this point. Okay. Let's look at, actually, before I go into another report, I'm going to alert you to the fact that up here at the top, along with the back button, go back one page button, there, we also have breadcrumbs. So if you wanted, we're in what's called the viewer right now. We're viewing a report. If you wanted to go back to the actual search, back one page, you can actually click the breadcrumb right next to it. It'll take you back to where you were right before you went to visit or view the report. Let's say you were looking for, there's multiple options here for search. So if I wanted to search for exporter, but I wanted to look for any report between November 1st and today, I can click search. And of course, I have show all versions set. Brings me back 15. If I want to clear my results, I could click clear results and all the results that would go. If I want to clear the actual form, so I want to start all over again, I clear that, and now my search is completely clean. Sorry, got a few things, so I'm bouncing around, but in your search, I'm going to click on show all versions so we get a lot more again. your search results are sortable. So if you wanted to perhaps sort all of these versions by version date and time, you could just click the column header. And as you see, it's now the results are based in ascending date order, date and timestamp order. And you can click it again and it will change it to descending. So remember that if you're trying to search for something, that might be helpful. Go back into the report. So let's view this report and let's look at what we can do within the report. Actually, I just thought about this. Sorry, John. I know you gave me one that we can use as an index. So let me go back to the navigator. Oh, a couple more things. This just reminded me. This you also have an option of a view style over here on the far right. So if you want your style to be a little more tight, where all the results set is kind of smaller font, you get a lot more information there. You can leave it as such. If you want to make it bigger, you can click the spacious version, and now you have it's a little more easier to see, but you actually do a little more scrolling. On top of that, if you don't want to, if you'd rather scroll more, have more results per page, you've got an option to change your result set, from like set to 20 to, let's say, 100. So now that changes, and you'll have only 3 pages of information because you have 100 per page. So these are all user settings that you can change within once you log in. Another thing to do, if you wanted to grab, let's say, 3 of these reports and you wanted to get a copy of them and you wanted to combine them, this column here, this is a select all or deselect all results. So I could click that, or you could just select one at a time. I'm going to select 3 here. This box over here just appeared, and it says 3 items selected. So now you can actually do something with these 3 items. I'm going to click on this menu, this action box, and I'm going to say I would like to, instead of viewing, I would like to download them all. And let's download them all as a PDF. I'm going to select that. Download. And within Adobe pops I believe there's 3 reports I created as one combined document. So you might have needs there where you want to combine multiple things into one document and either print them or save them. So that's at your disposal too. Okay, let's go back to the home page. Remember, I was saying these were kind of quick links that John has set up in order to get something a little more fast that maybe he does on a more continual basis. We're going to click on this item right here called AOC Monthly Summary. It's a report. And you see it takes me straight to the, basically it's a search with the results. And let's go open it up. Zoom it down just a little bit. Now, on the toolbar at the top, Actions menu button. Click on that. And the first option is called Query. And if you select it, Content Query, it's going to give you the ability to apply what's essentially, if you're used to this term, an index or a query to the report, things that have already been defined to this report. In this case, it's a distribution code, and you can set it, you can set the Boolean to whatever. I'm going to leave it as equal. And whatever values that are part of this, I'm going to select 1596, and I can apply it. Of course, if there are more to add, if there are different indexes, you could add more to that and string them along. I'm just going to apply this one, and that will bring back, and I assume I'm guessing this is a page level index, but it'll bring back all the pages that are associated with this code here, 1596. So if you're used to doing that, this is how, applying indexes, this is how you would do it. Another way, I'm going to clear that. Now we're back to the entire report. Another option, let me jump, look for something. I'm going to go up here and say I want to go to page 47. Go back to page 1. So I said that you could set, you can apply an index for a query. You can actually do a text query, which is kind of like the find we did in the find text, but it allows you to be a little more advanced with your searches. So if I wanted to look for the word magistrate, and I wanted to say it was in columns 1 and 50, and I wasn't sure if those were the 50 columns I wanted to look for, so I could click on this ruler, come down here, start moving it around, so I can kind of determine what area I wanted to search. So that's where the ruler comes in handy. I'll go ahead and apply this. And as you see, I did hit on a magistrate in between those columns. I'll do it again. Now found again on page 3. You notice at the top here, this page should be, oh, it's first, okay. Should be changing. And then if you wanted to change the columns, or you can look by lines too. So that's another way of doing text finds within a report. If you want to close out the report, you can either use the breadcrumbs to go back, the back button, or you can actually use this close button on the far right. I think I might be hovering over something.
Yes, there's a WebEx box there. I'll try to move
it.
Okay,
I'll just click on this. And we talked a little bit about the home page with these My Pages entries. Suppose I wanted to add something here. How would I do that? Well, let's just practice. I'll go to Content Navigator and I'll do another search. For exporter. Let's say I'm just used to doing this all the time. I don't want to do that again. I can come up here on the top far right of this panel, click this button. I think I might be hovering over something else. Am I, John?
Yeah. Can I move it for you?
I need to move this.
Let me take control a second and I'll try to move it.
Okay.
Okay, it should be clear now.
Okay. So I'll click this button here. Oh, sorry, wrong button. Save search. So I want to save this. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong thing. My bad. Not search. I want to save. I want to strike that, please. I want to add this to My Pages. That's what I'm doing. So I come up here to the toolbar and I click the star with the chain attached to it and I say add to My Pages. And then now you can freeform call it what you want. I'm going to say exporter reports. And I can set it to the general, which is it's going to show you a list of all those categories that are already defined, or you can set your own. And I'll just say test. I'll call it Tim test. Save it. So now I should have an entry on the home page that is for that. So I'll click that home page again. If you notice, this exporter reports item is here. So now I have the ability to go straight to that search. What if I wanted to change that and I thought, oh, I want to have it in the general section? You can click this edit, kind of grayed out button here, and I want to change to general. I'll do that. Save it. It's now here under the general My Pages section. And I don't want it anymore. I can delete it. And it'll ask me if I want to delete it, and it's gone. So you can, if you want to use this default homepage to have some quick links to things you do on a normal basis, this will be a good option to use. But what if you didn't really want that? You just know every time I come in here, I really don't want to look at this. I just want to go straight to, say, this search screen. Yeah. So you can go back up to that same icon, and you can say set as first page. So if I click this, what it's going to do, gives me a message saying it's been updated. The next time I log in, it will not go to that default homepage we were looking at earlier. It's going to take me straight here. So if you'd rather go to one page other than another, every time you log in, you can change that. And if you ever need to change it back, you could just go back to the reset first page, and it'll reset it back to what is the default setting. Trying to think of questions that came up in previous sessions. I know one question was this. When you're looking at I'll show all version. I'm sorry. When you're looking at a particular report, let me go back to the exporter option. I'm just going to select one. And I've got to, okay, so now I'm just looking at the most recent version, and I select the option of show versions. So now these are all versions of the report, and you can imagine this was a report that had multiple versions, more than 3, and it's possible that it might be sorted in a weird way, and you wanted to sort it and understand, what you're looking for some reason, a particular version number. This RIN does represent the version number, if you're used to that term. I think RIN stands for Resource Indicator Number. But again, you can you should be able to just same thing when we were looking at the report results, version results, you can sort by column. So if you're looking for something and it'd be easier to sort it in a certain ascending or descending order based on a column of your choice, you can do that. At this point, I'll leave it open to Jennifer and John if there's anything that I missed or you wanted me to show.
Tim, do you mind downloading a report, say, to Excel? I know we have some customers that download to Excel.
Oh, sure. All right. I'll just click on this one. And within the version itself, again, under the action menu, there's an option for download. Oops. And under that, you have the ability to download it as you're viewing it in text or generic or PDF or XLS. If I click here on XLS, first it's going to give me a download range to decide what to download. So that'll open this up and open Excel up and put your data at this point in the first column. Those of you that use Extend, the application will be showing in the upcoming weeks. That's one of the tools here. Will give you the ability to slice and dice. You can put things in different columns and download as a CSV. But for this purpose here, for this demonstration, you can just straight take everything and put it in a spreadsheet immediately.
So if any of our train the trainers on the phone, if you guys have any questions, just unmute your phone. You can hover in the lower center part of the screen, and you'll see the toolbar pop up, and just click on mute to unmute yourself. John, one question that I got this morning was, can a user put a report that they use commonly, can they import it into this test system? And I think there's some job that you have that they can run. If they have a question about that, can they contact you? Or how does one get a report in the test environment?
Yeah, so they'll run a batch job and do a message class out to W, and that'll send it to exporter. on the test system, and once that's in there, then the cloud should pick it up and they should be able to view it then.
Okay.
Just a side note, if anyone has the need or want to play around with the annotations, these notes here that are on your screen, one thing I failed to mention was you can move these notes around. So if you wanted to have a note that was specific to, data that's on, a particular row or column or in some general area, you can just, with your cursor, move the note to that area. That way it makes more sense to where the note is located. So
I have one question from the message, the chat box, Tim. It says, do the white boxes in my page sort in alpha order, or can they organize them in a particular order?
That's a good question. Not sure if these are movable. Oh, they are. Yeah, you can move them around. You should be able to move them around. I thought that was going to work. I'll take that as an action item. Make sure that didn't work. Maybe I've just... Yeah, let me go back and find out, and I will. I can either send that to you, and you get that directly to the person who asked the question, or if you have his or her email address.
I see the person's name. If you could text me your last name, the person that asked that question. I see your first name as a participant, but I don't know your last name. If you'd let me know your name, I'll get this answer to you. I do see another question that just popped up. When you download a report, do the notes attached to that report download as well?
Oh, like the annotations? Sure, that's what he's talking about. I believe they do download at the very end, but let me make sure. Thanks, Bradley. Let me make sure that that's not a system setting. It might be. That's a great question too, because I don't know if that's. I think that's default, but I just need to find out. So I don't want to say one way or the other. Let me find that out, and I will get that information back to you, Jennifer.
Okay. And is there a wildcard key on searching and query or outside of reports?
Hold on one second. In here. A wildcard within here. That must have been a private message.
She said, is there a wildcard key on searching and query?
Oh, maybe.
Yes, they said in there. Yes, you're right. You're in the right place.
I believe all of this is partial, so I don't think you need a wildcard, but I'll confirm that. So my point is, I mean, if I wanted to search for and, it's going to find anything with and in it. And the same thing goes with, John, give me a form ID I could use, or here, I see it. So there's VP. Well, we saw something. Maybe that wasn't. Oh, I know what I was doing. back to the end. Here we go. We'll do this. MVP under name. Get rid of that. Maybe this isn't partial. Okay, so let's try this. Let's do VP. This may answer your question.
You try putting in news, NEWS. That's a form ID or an alternate name. You could try
News?
in the search and see if that would work.
Okay. So, but to her point, so this is partial. This will not. I'm guessing this will not be. So, her question of is there a wild card? If I put in, I don't think I'm getting. Oh, I did. Okay. But if I was looking for WS. It took the start. Let's see if that works. Okay. Let me. For some reason, I think that there should be one, but let me find out for whatever those fields are that aren't taking partial searches, what the wildcard would be, and I'll add that to my list too, Jennifer.
Okay.
So you can get the one when I get the answer. We can get it back to everyone here.
Yeah, everyone that's posted questions in the chat, if you could give me your name. I see there's one name, Pamela Miller. I see Bradley.
To everyone, because maybe everyone
Yeah,
will want to know the answer.
Well, I don't know everybody that's on the call because I don't see their full name. Some people have put short names or abbreviations. So if you could enter your name in the chat window, that would be helpful for me so I could get you the answers to your questions.
And Bradley, I got your note about the printing too, and I'll find out how long to download.
I see Pamela asked one additional question about Bets. Can you move between favorites under Content Navigator and the Favorites Navigator option?
The favorites in Content Navigator. So here.
Is there a difference between favorites under Content Navigator and the Favorites Navigator option?
This. No, it should be the same list. It's just shows you only that. Yeah.
All right.
It's just filtered down for just the area for favorites. And hopefully you will see when you if you haven't logged in, when you log in, that most of this will be. You won't see administration. You'll see just a few things in our tools. It will look less busy. And I think I showed you this. If you're in this area here, you know what if you don't need this, you can actually toggle this middle tree panel, the white panel, and open that up too. So, if you're at the point where you're in the Content Navigator and you're doing your search, you got your search screen up, and you're here, and you want to have more visibility once you do your search, you can close that tree by using that arrow, and then so you have more real estate. And if you wanted to open it back up again, just click the arrow, that little right arrow again, and then that tree will I think I'm locked. Should open. John, I think I'm locked up.
Okay, so I see Bradley's name, but if there are other people that have posted questions, if you could give me your name in the chat box, that would be helpful. There is one additional question. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay. No, I was just saying I was going to work on these this afternoon.
Okay. There is one last question. Is XNet going away completely? Oh, this is for me. Is XNet going away completely on 12/30? Will it remain in-house solely historical reports as of 12/30? Will it run as parallel to Systemware for a time period? Yes, we're going to run parallel for a time period, and that time period hasn't been defined yet. And I'll be setting up weekly chat sessions for this group starting next week, so we'll have time to have question and answer time with the agencies once a week going forward. All right, so unless we have any other questions, Tim, thank you, and John, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks very